This is the Hype Beast, Hunter Holdcraft, and you're listening to the Hypest podcast and all of the internet, the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
What it is. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Come on in. Sit down. Episode number 144 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. It's your boy DB, and it's me once again. I've been bringing you these series of independent, up and coming, wrestlers, and boy, do I have a tandem for you today, man. This one is going to be a big one. But first, before we get to it, man, I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, and I want to thank everybody listening on Apple, Spotify, and all those podcast platforms out there. So let me introduce these guys to you, man. They are killing it right now in the Midwest wrestling scene. They're about to take over the country for the first time on the Sit Down Marks podcast. The Hyperfire, 12 Gaige, the Hype Beast, Hunter Holdcraft. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hype. What's going on, boys?
What's going on, DB? What's going on?
What's up? Glad to be here. Happy.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you guys being here, man. It's been a little while. You guys are busy, man, and that's a good thing. You guys as currently, you are the Dreamwave Tag Team Champions, but also currently, as of this past Saturday, you added some more belts to the collection, man. You guys are now the brand new Iron Spirit Pro Tag Team Champions. You guys ended a almost, I think 2 weeks shy of 2-year reign of Sabotage, wow. Sean Logan, and Gunner Brave 815, man. Talk about that real quick, man. Like adding another some more gold to the old waist there.
I mean, it feels pretty good. I mean, I didn't realize that they almost had a 2-year reign, which is a pretty long time. I mean, me and Gaige, we've only been tag team champions of Dreamwave for what? Since April of last year. It's like 9 months.
I want to believe so. Yeah. So somewhere around
double that and then some for their reign. Like that's a very long time. So I mean, I didn't even realize that we faced them. What was that? 2023? Like in the later end of it.
It was like right in the beginning of the year. I want to say.
So I mean, then that story coming full circle and us getting the win at the end. I mean, I didn't realize that it actually means a lot at that point.
Yeah.
They held down the division for quite a bit.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, us getting the rematch and dethroning the longest reigning tag team champions in Iron Spirit Pro, and it was a really good feeling. And it was a back and forth match. It was a back and forth match, and they got the match restarted with their antics, and it ended in our favor. And the crowd loved it, and it was awesome. It was a great match. They're hard competitors, insane competitors, Sabotage, Sean, and Gunner Brave, and it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling to add another title to our waist.
For sure, man. And let me blow your mind again, dude. They were, like I said, 2 weeks shy of 2 years, but you guys are the second ever Iron Spirit Pro Tag Team Champions, because they were the only ones to ever hold the belts before you guys. So,
which is it's crazy. And I mean, no one can take them out. And our first time go with them, it didn't end in our favor. And I think we learned from that match and overcome the odds and finally defeated 815.
Yeah.
Wild, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It's pretty crazy to hear.
Yeah.
I didn't really
you guys will
realize
be history now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. History in Iron Spirit Pro books forever, man. So, but congratulations, man. I mean, so, let's jump right into it, man. I mean, has your guys' careers been any bigger than right now?
No, this is probably the biggest it's had.
Right.
I mean, right before the new year, that was, I would say, our only break within 2024. I mean, we were going back to back to weeks with multiple shows per week, and it was going crazy. And we had that little leeway at the end of the year with a break, and then now we're getting back to every week going and traveling. And now this year, our goal, we went to a few new states last year and traveled around the Midwest. This year, we want to travel everywhere. We want to go everywhere and face anybody. So this is probably the biggest time we had our career, and tag teaming together, it's working out really good. Want to keep that going and expand.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, for as short as my career has been so far, and the majority of it being a tag team with 12, I mean, this is as high as it's ever been. I mean, like he said, we were busy every single weekend. I mean, granted, there were a couple weeks here and there with a couple of minor injuries, but we've managed to overcome them and then still put on matches that people believe to be match of the night. And it's like hearing that still, I mean, I sometimes don't believe it sometimes, but
it's true. It's true.
Yeah. And
we appreciate that.
Even you saying that sometimes in my head a little bit, I still don't believe you a little bit, but it's okay. It's a little bit of a confidence thing, but no, I very, very like thankful to be where we are right now. And even just being, some people say it's like just the beginning, because we've only been tagging for about a year and some change.
Sure.
Something like that. I would say
2 years.
No,
it's
been 2 years.
It's 2 years.
It's 2 years and like
2 years and some change now.
Yeah, I would say so. 2 years and a few months.
So yeah,
right.
That's crazy to hear. And like
yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. I mean, you, like I said, I mean, you guys are killing it right now, and and not blowing you guys up, man, or blowing your egos up, I guess, so to speak, but those, and we'll talk about that later, man, but like those wasted youth matches will stick in my brain like forever, dude. Like there's certain spots that I'll never forget about those matches what you guys had with those, seeing them, up close and in person, like, yeah, man. Yeah, everybody should have said, y'all had match of the night that night. Trouble is, you're a Dreamwave, and, it's, there's so many good matches, what I mean?
It's insane.
Any given night, right? Like it's the who's who, right? So let's talk Dreamwave just a little, man. But first, let's rewind, boys. So, 2 kids from the LaSalle, Peru area, Illinois. Do you guys remember the first time y'all met each other?
Yes, actually, it was in middle school wrestling.
Is that true, Hunter?
Back in the day, yep. So it was like
I don't know the day, but I do know, like, I've known you since that point.
In that time, yeah.
I started wrestling when I was in, I want to say, I think it was 1st or 2nd grade. It was somewhere around there. So I remember like meeting everybody, and during that time, like Hunter and I were friends within like wrestling and knew each other, and we talked sometimes, but not as close as we are now.
Right.
But I do remember meeting the team because when I first started, I was playing football, and my football coach during the time was like, "Oh, you should try wrestling," and I was like, "Oh," I was thinking of, in my head, I was thinking WWE and everything, and then I go to do it, I'm like, I don't see a ring here,
no
Dad.
Ropes. Sure, yeah.
There's no
right.
ropes in the ring.
There's no ropes. Right. There's no ropes. Yeah.
That was my exact same like thought as soon as I walked into a wrestling room when I was 7 years old.
Sure.
like where are the ropes? Like where's the big dudes? But
right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do remember knowing Gaige for probably as long as I can mostly remember, not gonna lie, because I mean, like I said, I was like 7-8 years old, like
something like that.
Not many people remember much before that. So
sure, nice. So sports in school, you guys play football together? Any wrestling team together? Any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
So youth wrestling all the way up until high school. I know. Yeah. We did high school wrestling together. He was on the football team as well. You were a year below me, weren't you? 12.
Yeah, I was. I think 2.
2 years below.
Right. 2 years. Okay. 2 years below. Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So
but we were always in the same room, on the same practice field every single day. Right. Not really knowing what the future held for us.
Sure. So where did wrestling come into play then? Like who said something about a wrestler, or one of you guys come over to one of you guys' house and like a Raw was on or something? Like where did the wrestling bond start?
I would say, well, like, are you with us together?
Yeah. Like you guys, like when did y'all start enjoying wrestling together? I was saying, like, oh yeah, I like that too. Like, you know what I mean? That moment.
I think like when we were younger, we kind of talked sometimes about it, but like I said, we were not friends that like would hang out at first, like out of our sports, but we knew each other in sports. I know a few times we would talk here and there. about wrestling. But I would say the first actual time I can remember where we kept like going about wrestling is the one day I was at training and Hartenbauer shows up and Hunter walks out and I'm like, what in the world are you doing here? And then that was probably the first time where we started chirping it up. And then
Sure.
Yeah, but we'd always either talk about wrestling or it'd be practice, and I would try to get him to break while Hartenbauer or Rose or someone's teaching someone. I used to slap the back of his neck every time we saw each other.
It was so annoying. Like, there was a point where I did not like this kid because he would just walk behind me and slap me in the back of the head for absolutely no reason.
Yeah,
and he apparently not a lot of people can get me angry, but like he sure knew how to push my buttons. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, I'll tell you too, man. Like there was an era when like people were smacking each other on the back of the necks, and it's probably like Jackass's fault on TV, MTV, probably. Something like that. Because I remember like buddies doing that to me too, and I'm like, man, that pisses me off, I kind of get it, but you know what I mean. So
it was the got your neck era where you'd slap your back of your neck and go, got your neck,
right?
Bow.
All right, so we're out of high school, boys. We're thinking pro wrestling, and then what happens? Hunter's in college, 12. What about you?
So, the one thing for me was going into my senior year, I was dedicating myself to track. I was a really good 400 runner. My junior year, in the 4x4, went to state.
Okay.
And all of our times, there's 3 people on my team, me and then 2 others, and we were like really good 400, getting to that 50-second mark, trying to go under one of them. I was insane. His time was nuts, but we were trying to go to Division I school, and senior year was going to be the year where I decided, am I going Division I or what am I doing? Mm-hmm. And my year actually got canceled and everything because COVID. I graduated during the COVID year. So
yeah,
it was crazy. I sprained my ankle before even the football season started. I was out until the halfway mark. I started wrestling in my 1st or 2nd grade and did it all the way to my junior year. Stopped my senior year to do travel track. Went and did travel track for ISU, the college. And then just because I wanted to go Division I, and then COVID hits and took out everything and ruined my chances. So from there, I was like, well, I was never really good at school. I hated school other than sports. That was the main thing that kept me going with that. So I went to community college, and then I realized I want to do more. And it was actually with Zawa Live. They posted something for everyone that graduated during the COVID year. Send an essay why you love wrestling to them, and they were going to pick a winner, and the winner gets free training for 3 months. And I ended up winning.
Get out!
So,
I never heard that story.
I still have the essay. Yep, I still have the essay in my Google Docs. Sent it in, and I ended up winning. And I remember I was so excited.
That's cool.
I remember Rose telling me, because Rose and I have known each other before. We knew us before we started wrestling for a bit. So he told me, and I'll never forget going to training. And I was like, he was like, all right, you sit and watch 12 for a bit, and then we're going to do like an advanced class right now. And I remember they were working on like going on the fly and saying stuff. And I was scared. I was like, all right, this is terrifying right now.
I could see that. I would be too. I mean, I bet that looks like a complicated mess to you.
Right? I was sitting there and I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, okay, well, and then it ended up working well. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then from there on, after a year, I did that first with Zawa Live, wanting to know, like, do I want to pursue this the rest of my life? Like, is it something I want to do? Because it's been my dream when I was a kid, but I was like, is this something I want to do? And then I moved on a year later and went to Black and Brave. I got trained by Rollins and Merrick Brave and Matt Mayday. And it was a really good decision because I knew this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life. This is what I wanted to do. So from there on, and then now we're here.
Yep. So Hunter, college, ISU Redbird.
Roll Birds.
Yep.
I actually didn't start off that way, though.
Yeah, right.
Transferred out. I started my freshman year of college at Augustana College, a D3 school out of the Quad Cities. I wrestled there for a year. A year. And then I transferred over to ISU after that and pursued nutrition. And then while I was there, I think it was my junior year when I was at ISU, I saw a video of 12 Gaige come across my Instagram feed. doing a springboard cutter to somebody. And I was like, oh, hey, that's Gaige. I didn't know he professionally wrestled.
He's doing that, right? Yeah.
I didn't know he was doing that. That's awesome.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I was like, well, what can I do? What can I do to try? I mean, I'm not lying. When I saw Gaige's video on Instagram, it like sparked my interest, and I'm like,
Sure.
what do I have to, like, what can I do? Like, I need something to, like, I don't know. I think I have some athletic ability, and I love professional wrestling. I mean, I've been watching it since I was who knows how young. So I was like, why not?
Yeah.
So I've known Hartenbauer for quite a while. I asked him what I can do, and he brought me to Gaige's ring, and then that goes there goes that story that Gaige told a little bit ago. And then from there on out, I mean, pretty much the rest is history, or not history, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember the first time I seen you guys, 12 shows up to set up ring for Iron Spirit Pro. Hunter, you showed up actually with Hartenbauer. Hartenbauer had a booking, and you showed up. I think it was like the first time I met you guys. But okay, yeah. So we're in training, but rewind real quick. So, you know, who are you guys watching? Like, oh man, like who are you inspired by? You know what I mean? To go, you know, to go train. Like, who are you watching on TV? You know, who was you like jazzed up to, you know, to see?
For me, it was time. I was like, right before I would say everything with training was, I just remember like figuring out there was more than WWE and like Dreamwave, because I used to go to Dreamwave as a kid.
Yeah.
So I remember figuring out like way more. And I remember the first time I watched New Japan, and I was seeing all the stuff over there with Okada and Ospreay and Tanahashi and all. And I was like, whoa. And that kind of, I would say, like sparked it really for me. And then I would say the first time seeing like Rollins, I remember Rollins debuting and everything with him. And I was just like, I want to wrestle. And seeing my favorite wrestler of all time, I'm not going to lie, this is insane. When you're going to hear this, you're going to be shocked. But my favorite wrestler of all time is the Great Khali. That's legit.
I knew that was coming.
I remember turning on. That's how I got into wrestling. I lost a game of Pig to one of my friends, and it was either because I used to like not like wrestling. I was like, I'm not watching wrestling. I don't care. And I was like, all right, let's play a game of Pig. If I lose, I'll watch wrestling. I'll watch SmackDown, and if I win, you have to watch football. And I lost. I remember turning on the TV, and I saw the Great Khali. Big shot to the head and going, oh! And I was like, whoa, who's this guy? So, I have to put him in there. I have to put Khali in the legend.
Were you going around challenging everybody to Punjabi prison matches?
Yeah. Oh, that's my dream match. If I could face Great Khali, oh my gosh, that'd be insane. It'd be insane.
That's wild, man. Yeah, I would sit here and you would say, guess my favorite wrestler, and I would run through nearly probably my whole bank of memory before I would probably say Great Khali. So
it's nuts, but I love it.
I love it, man. I love it. It's awesome. What about you, Hunter? Like, who are you checking out?
My favorites growing up, I mean, I would watch them, like Cena, Triple H. I'd watch Shawn Michaels. I was a big fan. But then when I started like thinking about how I want to wrestle, I started watching a little bit more of like Kurt Angle and Chad Gable and American Alpha and like FTR, like the guys like that. Like I was really big into the black and gold NXT era at that time.
Technical guys, yeah.
Yeah, so like 2019, 2018, like really big into like the black and gold NXT. So like guys like that, like those are pretty much what I would watch for the most part, trying to get like either like inspiration or just like think of ideas or anything. And I kind of, at first I stuck with like the amateur wrestling, like the shooter wrestler. So I was watching a lot of like Chad Gable and Angle to see how I can translate like what I know with amateur wrestling, since I did it for 14, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
See how I can translate that and then have like an easier transition into the professional wrestling world. And it worked out in my favor, but I think teaming with Gaige kind of helped me learn 10 times more, because I mean, I think I learned a lot more in tag team wrestling than I ever would if I stuck with singles.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so you got to start taking bookings. Tell me some stories. Like, who was your first match? And like, where was it at? How'd you feel afterwards about it? So once you start 12.
So is this for like first time in general or first time tag?
like your first actual booking, your first match you got paid for.
So first booking was with Zawa Live. That's where I trained, and it was in the Fireweight tournament. I want to say, I can't remember. It was September 12th of 2021. It's one of those dates. I think 2020. Okay. I can't remember. That's bad. And I was a Fireweight tournament, and I remember my first match was Damien Deschain. And we were out there and we're like, all right, we're going to kill it. We're going to do everything. We're going to go out there. And it was, my first show ever, I worked double. So it was a tournament. So I faced Damien Deschain, and then I defeated him, and then went on to face for the Fireweight championship. And I faced Doc Simmons, which I hope everything's good with him. He's on the shelf right now, but I hope everything's good with him. But I faced Doc Simmons, and I remember.
Shout out to Doc.
Yeah, shout out to Doc. And I remember facing Doc, and the first time drilling me as hard as he possibly could with a high kick right to the chest. And I was like, oh.
Welcome to the business, kid.
Yeah, that was the welcome to the business, kid. And I was like, oh my gosh. But you know what? It taught me, for being a small guy, and because I'm small, I'm 5'6", you got to hit hard. You got to hit hard. You got to drill. Yeah. So that was like the wake up opening. Like, all right, let's kick it. Let's kick in the high gear and let's go.
Yeah, nice. I love that. That's a good story. Wow. Yeah. Oh, I meant to ask you too. Did Damien make you do some technical stuff? He's more of a mat kind of wrestler. Did he?
So when we were going, because he was more the technical and I was more the scramble. It was a mix here and there. It'd be technical then scramble, technical and scramble. So it was going. But I will say, he's so smart with technical wrestling. It's insane. So when we would train, because after that we actually formed a tag team called the Young Guns for a little bit, and learning technical wrestling from him, because that's the weakest point for me is technical wrestling. That's why Hunter can do all that technical stuff. I leave it to him. I can't do it. It's insane. So he taught me though a lot of technical wrestling, some cool tricks and everything. So it was cool. But then it was like, okay, he just did this. What the heck am I going to do next?
Yeah.
What am I going to do to counter this? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right. So Hunter, your first match, who'd you go against?
I went against Jay Fowler in my first ever match at Summer Spectacular 2022, the first ever Dreamwave back from break. So that was my first ever match. That
was your first match? I did not know that. Yeah, I saw that. Gaige wrestled CJ Esparza that night. Yep. I remember, So, I remember a lot about that, man. Like, because that was Dreamwaves. It's funny. Like, I just had Hartenbauer on the pod about a month ago, and the last time he was on the pod was like years ago, and I was prodding him. I was like, dude, you think like Dreamwave is going to come back? You think like, and he's like, and he wouldn't like say or like look at me, nothing. I'm like, just tell me that it might be a possibility. He just kind of nods a little bit, you know what I mean? And then then when Summer Spectacular got announced, and like, I was like, oh man, this is the bomb. I'm super happy, man. But, so anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So
no, you're good.
Your first match.
Yeah, that was my first ever match. It was a part of a gauntlet that Fowler demanded. Pretty much like him and Zeke were in the ring demanding people to come out and stop him. Yeah. And I was the last guy out there, and I gave him a pretty good fight. I gave Zeke a good punch off the apron. But I ended up taking the buns to the face, and that was that. Yeah. So,
back when he was all buns, right?
I mean, super nervous going into it. I mean, watching Dreamwave like almost my whole childhood, and then my first ever match is at a Dreamwave ring in the Knights of Columbus in LaSalle, Illinois. Like, pretty nerve wracking. But as soon as it was over, like just like this rush of relief came over me, and it just felt right. It felt really good.
Fowler take care of you.
Oh yeah,
yeah, of course. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And when Yeah, it was awesome, man. Because because I was we're gonna talk about like who you guys have faced so far, but yeah, so I was looking and at Dreamwave, I think your first tag match was against the 4-Star Heroes,
Yep.
and so I was curious. I was like, that was October of 22. I actually announced that show, but I was like, I remember you guys had wrestled, and I remember 12 wrestling CJ because CJ was around Iron Spirit a lot at the time. And then so I was trying to remember. I knew you ran a gauntlet match, but I couldn't remember who it was, so I had to go back and kind of look it up. So so when did you guys decide, hey, let's take a run at a tag team? Like, did it kind of come organically? I know you guys are buddies and, y'all live close together. So, so that part works, but, how did the hype become the hype?
So the crazy thing with that is like it was kind of just random. We figured out one day we're going to be tagging together. Hit each other up. Hey, we're going to be tagging together. Let's get together and, figure out some tag stuff. We went out and that was our first time. Like we were just paired together. We went out there and we thought it went really well. And we thought we could try this out. And I remember at the after party, that's where we kind of got talking a little bit. Okay. Like this kind of was successful. What are we going to,
felt good, right?
It felt good. It was awesome.
Yeah,
And
I guess that felt right.
Yeah.
I tagged because right before that, I would say it wasn't too far, before that, where I was like, I've tag wrestling my entire career, basically. It's been, I've probably all combined probably was a singles wrestler for like 3 to 4 months, and that's it in my career. And I've been wrestling about 4 years. So as I've always been tagged, and I was doing nothing at the time, and we got paired randomly, and after party we talked, and we were like, all right, let's give this a shot. And then from there on, we got here, and it's been very successful.
Yeah, it was very organic. I mean, it's like I said, we've known each other for a while. So like getting together and talking about ideas and spitballing back and forth, like for like team name and moves, so we can do like combos, how we can mesh these styles that we have. I mean, it just came organically. Like we were thrown together and we just ran with it.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, and I might be biased just from, because I see you guys work a lot, I mean, the more I see you work, the more it looks natural, the more it likes you guys are just like, you should be a tag team. Like it just looks so organically natural, if that makes sense, So was 4-Star Heroes, was that your first, you don't have to put that together, Hunter, don't try. So 4-Star Heroes, your first tag match together?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that was awesome. So this was outdoors, Luz La Grotto. You guys are familiar with this place. Yeah, out in the parking lot. You guys wrestled 4-Star Heroes, Chris Castro and Matt Nix. I remember this like it was yesterday, man, because the 4-Star Heroes, they come out, they start shitting on Luz La Grotto's pizza, and so everybody's booing them out, and you guys come out, and that was awesome, man. So like I kind of thought maybe you guys had maybe worked together somewhere else right before that match, or somewhere along the way before that match, because 12, you were doing some work. Was this right around when you're doing work with the bank and Zawa? So you were tagging like with Bailey and T Money sometimes and stuff.
That was I would say a couple months before. That's in that span of like 3 to 4 months where I wasn't tag wrestling at all. So I was I was with the bank, and then I got booted out. Well, I didn't want to be there anymore.
Sure.
And then instead of just letting me go, normally they kicked me out.
Well, they don't like guys in cowboy hats. That's what it is, man. They like them wearing like a hat. So,
the goober fit.
The goober fit, yeah. The
goober fit.
So do you guys like you decide to be a tag team and are you guys studying anybody that who you guys like who you film study, who you watch and like or maybe even something might have stole a few moves from, like who you guys inspired by in that realm?
So normally when we like kind of tape study, we do it separately, so our thoughts are kind of like separate, and then when we go to training we would get together and say, okay, who'd we watch? What do we like? What do we do? Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the ones that I really watched in tag wrestling were DIY, FTR, Red Dragon, and Motor City Machine Guns. Those are probably the four that I would say where I watched the crap, especially with the Red Dragon. I'm a really big O'Reilly fan. So I love all this stuff. And then with Motor City Machine Guns, it was that boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Quick work. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same teams. I mean, FTR thrown in there. Did you say FTR?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like tag team, like basic right there. You know what I mean? Like that, they stick to the basics and it works. Yeah, majority of those tag teams, and then I would say like an American Alpha. Like I said, I'm black and gold NXT, so I'll watch like those tag matches too, and they were pretty good. So I mean, any of those, I always go back and I'll watch like some of the takeovers, DIY and FTR. Like, I mean, those were just classics.
Yeah, they were. So you guys decided to be a tag team, and you get the tights and everything that matches. Everything's looking good, and then it's time to pick an entrance song. Now you guys come out to, I think it's called The Discrepancies. Mm-hmm. The song is called. Is it called Get Hype?
It's called Get Hype by Discrepancies.
By Discrepancies, yeah. All right, so this is part of kind of like what I mean, I love watching you guys work, but I love watching you guys entrance because yes, you're called the Hype Man, but you guys come out like through the curtain 100 miles an hour. Gaige comes out like he just got electrocuted. You know what I mean? You guys are like fully like just juiced, man, but I love it because I feel like that's you guys, and everybody feels that energy. You know what I mean? So so you guys come out for the first time at the Knights of Columbus building. Doesn't really matter about the match, but you guys obviously live raised around where Dreamwave was, and what an awesome coup that is, you know what I mean, to have that, like in your backyard. But you guys come through the curtain first time as a tag team, man. Describe that feeling, man, because your friends and family is around, you've been going to these shows when you were kids, and you guys are finally on your first, Dreamwave show, as singles first, but then, a tag later, but then, me and Hunter were kind of talking about this pre-pod, but, there's just something about this Knights of Columbus building where, Dreamwave is held, man. Like I look forward to seeing this old building every other month. There's something about the smell that, I know I'm about to have a great weekend. You know what I mean? There's a smell of history there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wrestling that's happened in that building, but, while I'm rambling on, but, going back to it, but tell me about that feeling about wrestling under the Dreamwave, banner for the first time. Tell me about it.
It was crazy. Cause like I said, I remember watching it as a kid and being like, oh, this is awesome. Mm. And especially like I've always been like a tag team fan, like tag team wrestling fan. So coming out at the Knights of Columbus with their tag entrance. And I'm very picky with these kind of things. You can ask Hunter, like, well, I'll be back there. And I'm like, okay, This is where I'm going. This is,
we spent at least 10 minutes talking about it. Like we'll be in the gorilla position, and he's just like, okay, for the entrance, just be very specific about this. And I'm like, yes,
it's every time. It's still to this day. It's the same every time.
It's like a ritual.
I get it. We do it. We do it every single show. I understand how to do it.
And we've messed it up multiple times, but we learn, or I learn, I should say.
Because it's just when you walk out, then it's just that feeling. Like for me, it's right when I'm behind the curtains. I don't get nervous. I rarely even got nervous when I first started wrestling. I don't get nervous, but then when my music hits, everything because I'll tell him, you like this? This is what we're gonna do. Yeah, if he says okay. And then the music hits and I forget everything in my head. It just switches and I'm back there and I'm slapping myself. I'm getting myself ready. And then finally when the beat drop happens and I always go first. Now Hunter smacks the crap out of my back. I think it's payback for slapping his neck during training. But as soon as that hits, I just go out. Everything gets out of my mind, and I just start going absolutely crazy. And I'm just going out there and not remembering nothing and throwing my arms around, jumping, running, doing whatever I can, screaming.
Yeah.
It's just it's insane. It's electrifying, you know, walking out there and just getting the tingles and the goosebumps and chills and everything.
Yeah.
The crowd erupting. It's awesome. It's surreal.
Yeah, the Knights of Columbus is definitely like I know I was talking about this with you, DB, earlier, but like even just like going into the building that morning and knowing like there's gonna be people packed in here, there's gonna be lights going, everything. But for the first time going out there to that Dreamwave crowd, we didn't know what to expect. We knew we were gonna have a really good match with Christian Rose and Connor Hopkins for the first time in the Knights of Columbus, but we didn't know what this was going to lead to. We didn't know the reaction we were going to get. We didn't know a whole lot. But what we did know is that we've like thought of moments like this for a very long time. Like both of us going to Dreamwave shows since we were, I don't know how young you were when you first started going, but I went to the first ever Dreamwave show back in 2009. I sat on the stage for every single show from 2009 to about 13 or so. You can go back on IWTV and you can see me as the kid, like in the IOA on the stage every single show from that point on. So like it was nerve wracking. It was full of emotions, but when you go out of that curtain, you feel a rush and the beat drops and the people are yelling because you're hype. So they're getting hype.
Yep.
Gives you goosebumps, and it makes you like, we put all this hard work into this weekend, or like all of the hard work we put into like wrestling and setting up the show and getting ready to have this match. And it just seems all worth it for that feeling that I got going out there.
Yeah, man. And, you know, I'll say this, man, you know, call me biased because I work for Dreamwave, whatever, man. Like I would say this before, man, you know, I mean, like I used to go to Dreamwave shows too, you know what I mean? Like before, you know, that building's special, man. It's just, you know, you know, like I hate saying this, you know, sound like an old guy, but like I've seen a lot of indie shows, man, like all over the United States, East Coast, Northeast, like there's certain ones that just feel and stick and just scream independent wrestling, and it's that one, man. And just, you know, it's just great, man. I love going to it, you know, every chance we get. So before we get to a few other things, do you guys check out your matches a lot? Do you always go back and watch them the next day, you know, like the replay, you know, and maybe critique yourselves? Do y'all watch them together? You know, like is this, you know, it's kind of like doing tape study for yourselves, I guess.
The amount of texts that go back and forth the day after a Dreamwave show, like sending oh, like this looked good, or like this camera angle looks good, or like
while you're watching it, you're like sending texts. And
I'm sending texts as I'm watching it, and like for the next couple of days after that, like, we go back. We don't watch it. I don't think we ever watched the Dreamwave show together, have we?
No, it's always been separate. And all I remember is I'll wake up, I'll watch it, I'll look like critiquing wise, and then I'll also look for clipping stuff for social medias. And every time I finish the match, I know I will, like Hunter will send me text to, sometimes it goes back and forth who goes first, but if I'm sending text, I don't like sending one whole text. I like spam. It's bad. Like I'll send 13 different small paragraphs.
And I'm one of those people that like, if I get a whole load of text or like a huge paragraph, I don't even know where to start. So sometimes I'll just read it all and don't answer because it's like
that is for that is the answer.
12. Whenever I don't answer you, it's just because it was a lot. I've received it. I've processed it. I've had my own ideas. But I just don't know where to start, so I don't say anything. We have been doing voice memos.
He's overwhelmed.
And that works out a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Voice memos are a lifesaver.
Yep.
I just can't type, so I have to use voice. I'm terrible at technology. I'm telling you, I can't type. It's terrible. So I got to use voice. This is the Hyperfire 12 Gauge, and we are on the hypest podcast, Sit Down Marks podcast.
All right, boys. So you guys are the current Dreamwave Tag Team Champions, the Iron Spirit Pro Tag Team Champions. You got any other belts I don't know about?
At the moment, those are
Not the
only
moment.
two.
Well, I mean,
No.
not like that's enough. I just want to make sure I, wasn't selling you guys short of something you may have. But I mean, obviously, man, you guys are one of the top tag teams in the Midwest, one of the top tag teams in the country. Is there any like a dream tag team you guys would like to wrestle? Like DX, or you know what I mean, or somebody like that. You guys have ever chatted about that? Like man, wouldn't it be cool if we could work like the Nasty Boys? Just throwing somebody out there. You know what I mean? Dreamwave, it can be possible. So you never know, right? But yeah, you guys ever fantasy book yourselves like that at all? Just curious.
So yes, I've told them, like I've said, like FTR would be insane. DIY, just all the ones that we named that we watched, I would love to face. Some on the indies and that. When they were teaming, Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne, I always wanted to face them. That was a team that I really tell Hunter, I was like, oh, this is
he would
face.
all the time.
And
when
then,
Nick Wayne came into town, he was just like, oh man, if we could,
it would be awesome. And then one that I really wanted to face, and I hope everything's doing good with him, is ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a team too. You can ask Hunter. I the same thing. I would love to face ABC, and hope everything's going good with Chris Bay at the moment.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, man. Yeah, hope he's doing good. So, any personal dream opponents? Hunter, would you like to put Kurt Angle in the ankle lock, or like
hell, if he put me in the ankle lock, I think it would be the best day of my life. But like, I think it'd be cool. I mean, if any of those like amateur style wrestling wrestlers like Angle, Gable, those are the two like top two I can name right now. But like, I really am a big fan of technical wrestling. I think it's like a certain art form. I really love watching like Ring of Honor 2004.
Oh yeah.
Like Danielson matches. I'll watch those till like the sun goes down and then comes back up. Like lately I've been watching a lot of those style of wrestling, and I have a really huge appreciation for technical wrestling and chain wrestling and working holds and stuff like that. I mean, like a Danielson would be a dream match. I think it would be a dream match for anybody to be wrestling by Danielson. So
he's
like,
got to know he's on everybody's, right? Yeah.
Right. So just, I mean, any of the great technical wrestlers that are out there today, I know like Josh Alexander, like he's one of those guys too. Like, but he also has like the headgear and the singlet too. So, I mean, I'm just naming amateur wrestling guys right now, so, but I mean,
what about you, 12? You want to take the old chop from Kali, man? Like,
that's the number one. That's just the greatest underdog story ever. You got the giant, you got David and Goliath right there. Great Khali for sure. Rollins, one of my favorites as a kid. I would love to face Rollins. Shawn Michaels, obviously that can't happen, but that's one I would love. O'Reilly is one. Kenny Omega. I would say Tommaso Ciampa is another one. I would say those are kind of the ones I would love to get in the ring with. And one of my other favorites, The Rock. I would love that. Though I would say probably those. But Great Khali, I mean, it goes Rollins and like all of them at the same, and then Great Khali goes like times 10,
takes
times 10, times 10, times 10. If that happened, I could retire. If I could face Great Khali, the next I retire, I'd be fine. That's it.
Oh man.
So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, boys, we got all that out of the way, man. Let's talk Dreamwave, man. We got a big show coming up in February, man. But obviously we talked about Dreamwave located in your guys' backyard. I want to talk about two of the sponsors real quick. So 12 Gaige, Lose the Grotto, obviously your family business. You've been supporting Dreamwave, for a long time, and Hunter Exercise Science, your employer, if I do believe so,
indeed.
Correct, is now the main sponsor for our Uprising women's division.
Yep.
So you guys are kind of like tied in that way too, which is really awesome. Like it's just really, really cool that there's kind of like that family aspect to it. You know what I mean? Like going along, with Dreamwave, right there. So, I mean, so that's kind of cool. And like, I can see in like, I talked to both you guys' families, you know what I mean? And like, I can tell that like wrestling has been in you guys' lives, like forever, just like mine, you know what I mean? So that's why it always like feels awesome, it's probably, part of the, warming of the Knights of Columbus building is, seeing everybody in it too, I'm right. So,
yeah.
So outside of Hartenbauer, you guys are the local kids, you know what I mean? So, you guys, it's probably awesome to always get that hometown, kind of feel, and pop, so, but let's rewind for a minute, man, before we get into too much about February. So I've got a little challenge I'm gonna lay down for you guys. So when Hartenbauer was on the pod, he can name every match that he had at Dreamwave since the return. Okay, now I have all of you guys' matches. All I need you guys is to see if you guys can name all your matches as a tag team.
Are we going backwards? Or are we going from the first?
Well, let's start with the 4-Star Heroes match, which happened in October of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned, was it Rose and Hopkins after that?
Yeah, Rose and Hopkins in December of 22. And then
that was when you guys like had Guido, right? Little Guido.
No,
with you?
that was the next show in February.
That was the next show. Okay,
the 6-man tag against the Coyotes.
There you go.
And then after that was an anniversary. It was the tag team championship gauntlet match.
Match, right? Yep.
I feel like that was the show that like got the crowd to like get behind us a lot more.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like,
that was like your
really
arrival show. It felt like, yeah, for sure.
Then the match after that was Wasted Youth in June, or the first Wasted Youth match.
Yep. June of 23. Yep.
Yep. And then
Seduce and Destroy.
Yeah, there you go.
Seduce and Destroy on that Friday to for the number one contendership for the Dreamwave Tag Team Championship.
For the next night.
That next night.
Bucky and Aaron.
Wasted Youth.
Yep. Wasted Youth 2. Yep.
Where we came away with the titles.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then not too long after that, 12 had an injury to his shoulder.
I was out. Yep.
And he was out for a little bit. And so the show after that in October, I had a singles match against Jordan Cross. And then in December, we didn't have a tag match. We both participated in that Rumble that year, I believe.
Yep. 12 when Gaige come back.
Saved me.
Yep.
And thank goodness you did that, buddy.
That was awesome. That was a good night.
That was a really good night. And then the following, that February of 24,
right? Yeah.
That was another 6-man tag. It was us and Bobby Orlando versus TDC.
Shout out to the GOAT. Yep.
We have something with TDC. Like,
you
don't like us for some reason.
You're married.
Yeah, right.
Well, you were. Now it seems like it's the new guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll talk about them later.
Yep.
But then we had that 6-man, and then that February or that April, that was the TLC match of last year.
Wasted Youth 3.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then after that, when started our defenses,
it
was the
first title defense was a tough one.
It was a very tough one. What a tough first defense that was against VIF.
Sure.
What a way to start it off, right?
Those guys are solid, man.
They're beating the crap out
Insane.
of us, man.
So that was June. That was June of 24.
Yes, correct. That was June of 24.
Yep.
And then in August 24, it was a main event.
Yep.
Really, really, really good tag team too. I really like those guys. And then came
October of 24. You're so close, man. You're so close.
It was right after main event. I want to say it was Hail Twins.
Hail Twins in October, correct. Yep.
Yeah, Hail Twins.
Oh, yeah. And then there was the New Guys last December.
Yep. New Guys 1, December of 12/24, and New Guys 2 coming up February the 8th. So let me lay all this out here for you in case you're not privy to the situation. So February the 8th coming up, Famous Last Words, first Dreamwave show of 2025. Huge rematch with the New Guys, the Hype and the New Guys. So, unbiased watching. So after watching the replay Jake Bosch had his foot on the rope. Referee Landon, however, did not see that and missed it and still counted the 1, 2, 3. Like I said, not you guys' fault. You guys can't control what the referee does, but anyway, this prompts like a big rematch with the new guys. Now, you guys are getting pretty familiar with these guys. They seem to you guys have wrestled them in Iron Spirit. I think you guys might have another match coming up with them. Destination 6, I think, coming up.
Correct. That's next weekend, I believe. Sometime
soon. But yeah, so this one's kind of wild to me, man, because it's not like the new guys are out for gold. They have gold. This to me seems like a turf war. Like, I feel like they're trying to come and take over your turf and what you guys have. So, you guys got the floor here, man. Tell you guys what you really think about the new guys.
I mean, they came out in October and attacked us after the Hail Twins match and claimed that they were going to run the tag team division now, like, without even having a match there. You can't come into some place and say you run it without even proving it, and then our match, I mean, we had a highly contested match. We did get the 1, 2, 3. I mean, the ref did count it, whether his foot was on the rope and the ref didn't see it or not. They did count 1, 2, 3. But I mean, we'll gladly have this next match with them, with all of these stipulation judges, 15-minute time limit, all of that. I mean, it's just going to prove who actually does run this tag team division now.
And yeah, like you were saying, like, yes, the ref did count 1, 2, 3, and we got the win on that show, but it doesn't sit well with us because we want to prove that we are the best. And he got his foot on the ropes. It was out of our favor. I mean, all we did was do the pin, the ref count, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But coming into this next match with them, we're going to prove that we are truly the team at Dreamwave Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, but both of you guys are, some of the hottest tag teams, right now. Like I said, it's almost kind of like you guys are a little married to each other, right now, because they seem to be, I don't know if they're kind of following you around, it kind of maybe seems a little bit that way, you know what I mean? So, them just coming for what you want, but as the champion, no pun intended, Hunter, Mr. Holdcraft, but you become the hunted instead of the hunter. You know what I mean? So these, these kind of situations, are going to happen a lot. But I can tell you this, man. I know a lot of people super hyped about this rematch. It's going to be live on IWTV. That's Independent Wrestling TV on February the 8th. Famous last words. Any predictions, boys? Quick and swiftly, we're going to take care of these guys, or, I mean, obviously dubs, but, we're going to make a statement this time and, tell these boys that, we're going to send them back to St. Louis this time, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the game plan, isn't it? I mean, whether it's all these 15-minute time limit, I mean, definitive winner must be crowned. And I mean, I heard that the titles can change hands via DQ or count out, or even just these judges' decision if it comes down to the 15 minutes. But, I mean, after 15 minutes, I guarantee these judges are going to say that the Hype is the dominant tag team in Dreamwave Wrestling. The new guys, I mean, they're athletic, they're good, they're aggressive. But, I mean, this is our home. This is Dreamwave Wrestling. Like, the Hype is Dreamwave Wrestling. Like, this is where we are. This is what we work to. Like, we go everywhere. We wrestle all across the Midwest. We wrestled as north of Minneapolis to south of Alabama to get ready for these Dreamwave shows. And I mean, we've been talking game plan ever since the last show. And I think everyone's going to see that we have came to play and we've came to win.
Just like what he said. Literally agree with everything he said.
Yep. All right, boys. Let's before we go home, man, let's give a little love to the LaSalle faithful, man. This is the fastest selling sellout without a guy named Bret Hart on the card. You know what I mean? Or visiting us. So, this one sold out in 7 hours this time. You guys are part of why, these are selling out, because these matches are great. Everybody wants to come back, and see what happens, next every time. But, like, how crazy is that? Like, these things are selling out this quickly. You guys know, because, we've played, you put the chairs out plenty of times, you know what I mean? And to see how quickly these, sell out. But, and this is, this is a lot of locals, but it's a lot of people coming from, a lot of out of towners, too, coming to check it out. But, how cool is it that, not only you get to wrestle for, sold out crowds all the time, but just the fact that, just so humbled that it just, it keeps happening. So it's gotta be pretty cool for you guys, right?
It's crazy to think and even process in my mind. Like, I know when I see the notifications when the tickets go on sale, and then I see a notification later, and I'm like, there's no way this is already happening. And then I click on it, and it tells me they were sold out. And it's just like insane from everyone. I'm very grateful that I get the opportunity to perform and entertain all these people that want to come and see not only us, but everyone else at Dreamwave.
Yeah.
And we're part of a big family. And without all of us, we wouldn't be able to make this happen.
Right.
It's with everybody.
Every division.
It's crazy.
Everyone that flies in, all the talent that flies in, that stay loyal to Dreamwave. I mean, they elevate Dreamwave wrestling, and we only have to work harder to try and get on their level, or even higher than that too. Like that's what we do every time we go out there, and we try to steal the show. We try to make it the best match of the night, just because there's so much talent in this show that we have to go balls to the wall.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, man. So, yeah, absolutely, man. So I want to let you guys know one more time. Check it out. Like we said, it's sold out, but you can check it out on IWTV, February the 8th. Famous Last Words. Should know our bell time, 6 or 7, local central, not sure, but one of those two. But I want to thank the Hype for being on the pod today, and also to I want to let you guys know, man, I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate your work. I appreciate your attitude. You guys, you just have the best, work ethic, man. And I love to see the guys' success that you're having. Just keep working hard. And, you guys really are two of the good ones, man. I love to see all the success that you're having, man. And I hope you guys just keep collecting and stacking up belts, man. And if you haven't seen a Hype match, go check out a Hype match. But let me tell you, man, don't miss a New Guys versus the Hype match. Go back and watch the Hype versus Wasted Youth 1, 2, and 3. You'll thank me later. And all of these matches, too. So just want to say thank you to the boys. So thank you for being on the pod today, boys. I am the Dirty Bird. I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, and everybody listening on Apple, Spotify, and all those podcast platforms out there. Hunter, 12 Games. Thanks, guys, for being on today, man. Really appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. We love you, so we would love to be on here.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it was good to finally get you guys on here, man. Looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend, but or here pretty soon. But before we go, man, where you guys going to be at other than Dreamwave coming up here?
We're going to be at CSW. We'll be at Chicago Style Wrestling.
Awesome.
On Friday, and then next Saturday we will be at Destination 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we got a little off week after that, and then we'll be at Dreamwave.
Nice. For everybody watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, I have all your socials up on the screen right now. But if you want to go check them out and book them, the Hype Wrestling on Instagram. And one last question, boys. You guys going to the Rumble? I got me some tickets, man. Y'all going?
I will be going.
I gotta see Cena one
Yeah,
last
that's
time, man.
Literally, that's the main reason why, because I was like, I have nothing this week. I'm like, you know what? Like, it's Cena's last, and that was one of my guys. Like, there's a picture of me as a little kid,
Sure,
in Cena's gear, and I was like, I got to witness it one more time, And it's because he's one of those guys, that's inspiring for a little kid when
For
you're
sure.
watching him. So
Yeah,
I had to shoot the gun. I was like, you know what? Like, screw it. Let's go. So a few of my friends and I were going.
Yeah. You're secretly hoping the Great Khali's in the Rumble too, right?
I'd probably cry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd probably cry. So.
Oh man. All right, boys. Well, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Once again, I want to thank 12 Gaige and Hunter for being on the podcast, The Hype Wrestling. Go check them out on Instagram. Check them out at Dreamwave, Iron Spirit Pro, collecting all those big gold belts out there. So, for 12 and Double H, I am DB, the Dirty Bird. We'll see you guys around the way. Take it easy.